Hello internet! This is my game I created for Gym Jam. You can find it in the links below. Like with all of my projects, I started with graphics. I use Wings 3D and Inkscape for most of my games. I usually don't do UV mapping during the game jam, but I felt like this is necessary. This is the main models for the game. I choose the simplistic graphics because I felt that it's gonna feel good. So this game is about fast action, scoring as many goals as possible. There's gonna be laser action, super crazy speeds and explosions. A lot of explosions. So models are now inside of Unity and I started to work with graphics. I created this pink skybox, which is kinda pointless, but I didn't know about it at that time. Yeah, starting with lots of different colors, but then I choose 4 for the main game. I tried to use Pro Builder for my scene setup, but I never ended up using it anyway. I started working with terrain system, which at the time I thought is the best solution. It is okay for prototyping, but for the final result you need to do something else. You need to come up with some simple solution. And of course I started with the fun part, particles and effects and custom shaders. Right. Now I got Cinemachine, a Unity package that they acquired recently to use for my camera setup. If you're a Unity developer, I highly recommend to use this setup. It's really easy to set up and use. And then I started to use Playmaker for my basic player movement. This is really important. You need to start playtesting as early as possible, because otherwise I find myself struggling when I do coding first. I am a visual guy, I need to see what I'm doing. While doing scene setup, camera setup, playtesting and stuff like that, I wanna mention Game Dev Underground Discord community. I only recently joined them, but I'm been overwhelmed with the amount of people that support each other. And to be honest, it's one of the warmest community I ever met. Now comes my favorite part, particles. In my opinion, particles are the coolest things ever in video games. Sound is important, visuals are important, but particles? Oh yeah. And that's how I did the shield. Another kinda mistake I made this time, I used custom shader, which are lightweight, which is perfect for my game, but control wise, it's not perfect. I could have used just standard shaders and came up with same result, but I was too lazy. One thing I have to mention, you have to profile early. The earlier you start profiling your game, the less surprises you're gonna get when delivered. I did the same mistake many times before and I learned you have to profile early. You need to know what taking up space, what taking up so much memory, and CPU usage, and GPU use. Okay, enough about boring stuff. Power-ups coming next. If you make an arcade game and there is no power-ups, it's not an arcade game. Yeah, I can say this forever. Power-ups, 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 power-ups. There is need to be more power-ups. And again, more playtesting. Alright. So now I'm starting with lasers, because it's fun, and game called, actually, at this point there is no name for the game. Anyway, it's time to do some sound effects. I use this tool called bfxr.net, and it's one of the best tools to create 8-bit sounds for your game. Right, now is the time to put everything together. The sound, the movement, lasers, and so on. That's what I like to call add juiciness to the game. Everything is in place and it feels awesome. I like it already. Now comes the hardest part of the game. Name for the game. I thought long and hard and settled on Laser Ball Arena. Now it's time to do some UI, which is major part of the game. It's the first thing people interact and it needs to be flawless. Well, as much as possible. I put some sprites from the sprite editor and add them to our canvas. Text Mesh Pro is a wonderful asset acquired recently by Unity and I use it daily. Okay, let's start some animation for the UI. I was surprised to learn how easy Unity animation is. It has everything to create animations and state machine for that animations. I can spend hours fiddling with the top sheets, finite state machines and the curve editor. Alright, to the actual gameplay. In my game, Ball is responsible for keeping the score, using simple trigger system. I am also adding Ball assist system, which helps player to score, well, let's say more easily. Now I'm finally designing main arena and getting rid of the terrain, which means more modeling, more UV mapping and stuff. I did some manual fitting for the models, and once everything was in place, I finally disabled terrain. Like I said, I love particles, and I did some weird experiments with them, which actually never ended up in the game. But hey, you make mistakes while you're doing something, right? Oh no, it's only me. Ow. Anyway, it's time for AI. At this point, I should have used C# because I know how to do this. I've done this before many times. But I wanted to experiment with Playmaker. It's a powerful tool and I have it. And since I use C# on almost daily basis, I thought I need a break. Okay, back to development. It's time to create first, well, dumb AI, let's say. Now, I have finally someone to beat. But before that, well, you guessed it, more particles. I absolutely love particles in Unity. It's so easy and fun to work. I put particles on everything. Damage, explosions, lasers, you name it. Because arcade games are all about fun. Also, arcade games are simple. It usually contains one or two mechanics, and that's it. Well, maybe two mechanics. Well, anyway, adding more particles is obviously better for your game. Okay, enough about particles for now. Let's talk about playtesting. It's a major part in any game development, especially doing game jam. This is probably why I choose Playmaker for this game jam. You can call it pre-made asset, but as well as your computer. It's also pre-made, even if you buy one. So I assume what team meant, it's all the graphics, visuals, audio, effects and stuff like that need to be done during the jam. This is typical for many jams. Plus, the point of any jam is to have fun, and Playmaker is fun. Well, enough about Playmaker and me. Let's speak about something really important in games, which is in-game UI. It's often overlooked by novice developers and even professional ones, but it's so important. It tells you everything you need to know about current game state and helping you with decision making. Anyway, in this game there is 3 levels of difficulty. Only old people remember that almost all arcade games used to have the settings. Now it's like one size fits all, which never does. So I chose hard, easy and casual. I also wanted to put something like team casual, but I changed my mind. Okay, more UI animation. I absolutely love this part, playing with dop sheets and curves and state machines. After more profiling, playtesting and just pure fun, it's about time to make some scoring system. And more profiling, more testing. Testing, profiling, testing, profiling, testing, profiling, testing, profiling. You get my point. Anyway, let's do some more advanced AI. And by advanced, I mean it's like a toaster advanced. What I mean is, step 1, find target. Step 2, roll towards target. Step 3, chase the target. But surprisingly, it works. AI in the games is the hardest thing to and make it believable it's even harder. But I only have few hours left, and I have to stop at good enough. Finally, I am at the point where all mechanics are finished and I am adding AI as my opponents. Well, you know what's coming next. Testing and profiling, testing and profiling. Repeat after me, testing and profiling. Well, playing against AI is fun, but I want this to be an arcade game, and arcades used to be multiplayer. After all, arcades was my inspiration for this game. So I started to work on a split screen multiplayer. I was trying different camera angles, I was trying some new control schemes. I felt that this game will benefit from camera, similar to Rocket League camera. Well, it's kinda worked, but I wasn't sure. Camera felt a little buggy, there was some jitter, so I decided not to bother this time and leave it as it is. Okay, adding second player in the game is not that hard if you have experience, because experience always helps. But I was struggling with ideas how to make player selection. Nothing really resonated with me, probably because I was really tired, so I just skip it and jump straight into split screen selection. There is good tutorial on Unity website on how to do this with new Cinemachine system, so I just followed. For my second player, I decided to use in control, which was a mistake because I could have utilized standard Unity input system, but it was too late. And I ended up with messy controls, which I hope no one noticed. Okay, it's time for official splash, which is not what you thought, it's a splash screen, and it's fit perfectly. Thank you, Tim. Now, hard level. The only difference in this level, there is a platforms which are bringing bombs into the level at some random intervals. So again, I have to jump into Wings 3D and add some last minute modeling. It's always fun to wait until the jump almost ends to add more content. At this point, I was wondering, what else is missing in this game? I bet you know the answer. Particles! But this time, particles are actually useful. This is how you know you scored. After a few more minutes of polishing, profiling, messing with the settings, it's time for final touch, screenshots, icons, and PR. And that's it, my game is done. Thanks for watching this time lapse. Hope you really enjoyed it. Please play my game, bye!